Hello and welcome to the Sleeper Miami Dolphins YouTube channel. I am your host, Mike Oliva, with the show on this Friday, August the 28th. Tonight is the final preseason game, and Tua is coming back to town, but I'm not going to talk about that on today's show. The Miami Dolphins traded wide receiver Tutu Atwell yesterday. I'm going to talk about that and what the ramifications and fallout might be from that trade. As always, please be sure to subscribe and like us here at the Sleeper Miami Dolphins YouTube channel. And if you're on X or Twitter, make sure you're following us at Sleeper Miami. All right, like I said, the Dolphins traded Tutu Atwell, wide receiver, who they signed this past offseason to a one-year deal, a little over $1 million to the LA Rams for running back Jarquez Hunter. Hunter was a fourth-round pick by the Rams in 2025. There's actually video online of when the Rams made this pick. You know, sometimes they NFL Films or the team themselves release video of some of the behind-the-scenes stuff on draft day. In 2025, the Rams actually traded up a few spots in round 4 with the Colts, I believe. And they took Hunter and they showed the whole process of why they wanted him, why they liked him, why they were afraid he wasn't going to fall to them. And then they have the phone call between the Rams GM, Les Snead, I believe, calling up the Colts GM, Chris Ballard, talking. They're going back and forth. They make the trade, they make the pick. They show the team calling the player. Like, they really love this guy. Now, I know with most guys who are picked in the draft, I'm sure it is like that, actually. I'm not sure it is like that with every pick. But this one just seemed like a little bit more. It was a little bit extra, as the kids say. They went above and beyond. But here's the problem. The Rams have a loaded roster. They probably have, on paper, the best roster in the NFL. So for someone like Hunter, a second-year player, to, make the 53-man roster is hard enough. And then to get playing time is almost impossible. And they need help at wide receiver. Puka is facing a suspension for some off-the-field stuff. They know Tutu Atwell very well. It's where he's been recently. So it makes a lot of sense here for both teams. For Miami, they get out of this one-year deal, which, again, it's just for a little over $1 million, but I think he was due guaranteed money, so they don't have to pay that. And for Miami, when they signed him, they didn't know who they were going to take in the draft. And they didn't know that Chris Bell would be back as quick as he was. And they didn't know that Caleb Douglas and Kevin Coleman Jr. here would be playing as well as they have been. So Tutu, kind of the odd man out, probably wouldn't have made the team. Miami in a rebuilding stage here. They want to go with the youth. And Tutu, yeah, they had hopes for him, obviously, because they, when you lose Waddle, you lose Tyreek Hill, they need wide receiver help. But they probably didn't think these young kids, would be back with someone like Chris Bell, and the other two would have, sort of flashed in training camp that, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. So, again, for the Rams, they get wide receiver help, and they get a familiar face they know, who knows the offense, who can come in, pick it up, hit the ground running. For Miami, they can save a little bit of money here, and they don't have to release Tutu, which he probably was going to be released this weekend, honestly, with how sort of the wide receiver room sort of played out with the 3 rookies, Malik Washington's 4, maybe a carry Jalen Tolbert, there's 5. If you carry a 6, it could be like an AJ Henning type. Tutu probably wasn't making this team. So it makes sense. But that begs the question. What's next for the Miami Dolphins? And what trades might be coming down the pipeline? Because this weekend they play tonight, like I said, Friday night versus Atlanta at Hard Rock Stadium in their final preseason game. I don't think we're going to see many Miami Dolphins starters, if any. Just the way Hafley spoke this week, he wouldn't commit to anything. It sounded like, though, probably not going to see any of them. We might see Chris Bell for a series or two, maybe, possibly. Don't know even about that. But this game is essentially meaningless. You just want to get through all 4 quarters, nobody gets hurt. Here's the thing, though. They have made so many moves, Miami, in recent past couple weeks, once the preseason game started, of sort of churning the bottom of the roster. Let's get rid of these guys. Let's put a waiver claim on this guy. Let's get rid of this guy. Let's work out 3 or 4 guys. Okay, we're going to sign you. They've done it at various positions. Linebackers, specifically linebacker and tight end, because they've had a rash of injuries there. Nothing too serious, but guys who just can't practice or play. Running back, though, is interesting. They're resting Achane, obviously. They don't want to risk him. Jaylen Wright's healthy. Ollie Gordon's healthy. And earlier this week, they signed running back Coleman Bennett. And now they make a trade for Hunter, which has many people speculating. Why is Miami adding so many running backs? Why Why? Well, speculation is they're not happy with Wright or Gordon or both. Remember, John Eric Sullivan and Jeff Hafley did not draft Jaylen Wright. They did not draft Ollie Gordon. They have no emotional ties to either player. And from reports, neither one of them have been all that great this year in camp. They've been okay. Okay. Ollie Gordon, remember that first preseason game, got the personal foul penalty. He was removed from the game from Jeff Hafley. He addressed it in the media afterwards, not going to stand for this nonsense. And he's just been, mediocre in the preseason. Is it all his fault? No, he's running behind, backup offensive lineman. But again, there's training camp practice. There's been joint practice where he hasn't been running behind backup offensive lineman. So you got to he's just been okay and just been a ho-hum mundane training camp. Jaylen Wright, much of the same. He also had a fumble last week versus the Giants. I know it was raining, it was a wet ball. Even if you give him slack on that, he's had a ho-hum training camp, nothing special. Maybe Miami is looking for other guys to either come in and push them or replace one of them. I don't think they're going to replace them both, but maybe replace one of them. And Hunter's got a better chance of that than Coleman. He was a 4th-round pick, and there's just more there. It seems like from a skill set standpoint. Coleman Bennett, I don't know. I don't know much about him, and I think he was with the Bears. He was let go by the Bears. I think he was unsigned for a reason. But I think with Hunter, there's a good chance. There's a lot of buzz around Hunter. That's all I'm going to say. And I think for Miami, if Hunter comes in, let me put it this way: if they get a trade offer for Jaylen Wright or Ollie Gordon, it's going to be a small trade. You might get a 6th-round pick, 7th-round pick. They might say yes to it. And look at a team like the Packers right now, obviously where they came from. Everything going on with Josh Jacobs up there. It looks like he's facing a suspension. It might be short, it might be long. I don't know. They might be in the market for a running back. The thing with trades, though, is by Sunday, Monday, there's going to be so many guys on the open market. Would a team trade for Wright or Gordon? I don't know. What I do know, though, is if, Wright was picked around 4, but Miami traded a 3rd-round pick to get him. He might be viewed one way because of that, and it was not that long ago. Ollie Gordon, I don't know. But I would not be shocked if Monday afternoon, 5 p.m., I'm on here doing a show on the Sleeper Network. We're talking about Ollie Gordon or Jaylen Wright not being a member of the Miami Dolphins. Maybe they hold on to Hunter and cut one of them. I don't know. I'm just saying I don't think it's a sure thing. Both of those guys are safe. And the fact that Miami added 2 running backs this week might be some handwriting on the wall. Because out of all the positions, they need help. They need help in the secondary. Safety, they have none. Corner, they don't have much. And they have guys hurt. Pass rusher, they have nothing. You got Chop Robinson. Let's be honest. They have nothing. But they're out there picking up running backs. Running backs. Where guys aren't even hurt. Achan's healthy. Wright's healthy. Ollie Gordon's healthy. No one's hurt. But they're picking up running backs. You might not need to be Scooby-Doo to solve this mystery, folks. There might be something. This move might be one to set up another move. Or maybe it was just they didn't want to cut Tutu Atwell, so we'll take what we can get for him, and they cut Hunter in a few days. Who knows? That could be it too. I don't have a crystal ball. But it just seems odd that they added 2 running backs this week. And when you got all these needs elsewhere, you need help at wide receiver. You have, the tight end room has been devastated by injuries. I don't even know who's going to play tonight, honestly. It's been devastated by injuries. You need help at tight end. You need help in the secondary, safety and corner. Help with pass rush. If a quality wide receiver's out there, you're probably going to jump on him too. But they're picking up running backs. Just seems like it might be something to keep an eye on here. Because after the game tonight, Friday night, Miami has to be down to 53 men by Sunday at 4 or 5 o'clock Eastern time. I don't know the exact time. So Friday, they probably won't make any moves after the game since it's a night game, obviously. Saturday, you could start seeing guys get cut. Sunday, I expect a full list, if not all the rest, or all of them at once on Sunday. We're going to be a lot of cuts Saturday and Sunday. So, yeah, we'll see what's going on there. Some other roster moves, when it comes to who they're going to put waiver claims on, because Sunday after 4 or 5 o'clock, once every team makes their moves and starts releasing people, I don't know how many waiver claims Miami will put in. I've seen some people and smart people who cover the sport, who cover Miami, think they're going to put in like 5 or 6 waiver claims. That seems a bit high. That usually doesn't happen. I could see 3. I could see possibly 4, but 3. And again, secondary, edge rush, receiver, offensive line as well, because you just never have enough. They don't have any depth on the offensive line. Some people think quarterback. I don't. I think they're going to be fine with Quinn Ewers as number 2. Someone falls in their lap that they love, maybe, but I might be wrong there too. A quarterback. I don't think they're using a waiver claim at quarterback. Now, once everyone clears waivers, could they sign a quarterback? Yes. But to use an actual waiver claim, those are 2 different things now. Because if you use a waiver claim, that guy's got to be on your 53-man roster for week 1. And that means you have to pay his salary in full for the whole year. So use a waiver claim on someone, there's more risk involved than just, picking someone up after they clear waivers. So Monday at 4, anyone who wasn't picked up on waivers, it's a free-for-all. Anyone can sign them. That's different. So we'll see what goes on there. But again, those are the positions they're going to be looking at. This preseason game tonight, I alluded to it a little bit, and I don't think we're going to see the starters. I think we should see some starters. I think Willis could use at least another series. I think the young wide receivers will probably play regardless, no matter if the starting offensive line's out there or Willis, because I think they need reps. But I'd play those young wide receivers some. You can't live in fear that they're going to get hurt. Now, maybe Chris Bell you can. That's the one exception. But with Coleman and Caleb Douglas, I expect them both to play tonight. No Achane. Wright and Ollie Gordon better perform, or else everything I've said so far could be a reality for them. The backup offensive lineman, I want to see Caden Wallace here at right tackle. How does he look? Andrew Meyer at center. How does he look? And, Charlie Heck, it'd be nice if he gave a little proof of life here that he actually has a pulse and can block somebody. So those guys would be well. Campbell, the rookie out of Texas, who I don't know if he's the first backup guard off the bench. If he plays well, he has a chance to be. They still might put in Andrew Meyer at guard because he can play guard center. But Campbell, I'm not saying he's been a training camp superstar, but he's impressed some. He's kind of risen up the charts there, up the depth chart. That's the word I'm thinking about. And it would be nice to see him have a strong performance tonight, because I like him a lot, and I actually think a year from now, if the plan is to move Proctor to right tackle, and Austin Jackson's gone, Campbell might be starting here a year from now. It's a long ways away, I know, but I think he's got that type of ability potential. I do think 1 year not being a starter is good, but I like Campbell a lot, and I think they like him a lot because he's had a pretty good camp. I'm not saying he's a camp superstar. He's been out. I'm just saying for where he was picked, I think around 6, he's been pretty damn good, and he's impressed. Other side of the ball, like I said, defensive players. Grant's been hurt. I doubt he's going to play, so nothing you can do there. Chop probably won't play. Can anyone get a pass rush? Like anyone, anybody. The pass rush has been so bad. Can someone get a pass rush? And in the secondary, I'll say this. I know they don't care. But if Tua, who's played horrible in his first 2 preseason games, drop shotgun snaps, can't move in the pocket, can't move at all, weak arm, can't hit the side of a barn. If he comes into Hard Rock Stadium and lights up this Miami secondary, the coaching staff might not care too much, but the powers that be up top, who are paying this guy $50 million to play in Atlanta, are going to be embarrassed. And that's not good for these young guys in the secondary. And I'm not talking Chris Johnson, and I'm not talking Trader. I'm talking about the guys who, like, no one even freaking knows. Like, names that Marco Wilson types, those, let me call up the depth chart. Drawing a blank right now. They had nothing in the second. Names, I follow this stuff as closely as anyone, AJ Green, not the all-star wide receiver one. Major Burns, Michael Taft, Lonnie Johnson, Lewis Moore, Miles Battle, Ethan Bonner, Alex Austin, Gianti McMillan. I mean, don't get lit up by Tua, who has pooped his pants in every preseason game so far. Pooped his pants. And it's been, however, and it's not me piling on, I don't like him, I'm a Dolphin. It's not that. However bad you think it's been, watch the film, watch the clips, just watch the highlights on YouTube. It's actually worse. He's been that bad. There are reports that if he plays poorly tonight versus Miami, Atlanta might cut him. They're only on the hook for $1 million. They don't need him. It's $1 million. It ain't like they're losing any money. And he might get cut after tonight. He's been so bad. Think about that. They signed him to come in and compete for the starting job. And it's been so, and the other guy just got healthy this week, and he might not even be healthy enough to play week 1. But he's been so bad to they might cut him tonight if he plays bad again. That is insane. That is insane. But so we'll see. Here's the deal. I know the preseason doesn't count. I know half these guys who are going to be on the field tonight won't even make the team. Even if they do make the first cut, they might not survive the second cut after they put in waivers. I get it. But Miami's been so bad in these first 2 preseason games. It would be a nice sign. I don't care if they win, but just play competitively, because they weren't competitive versus Washington. They were less than competitive versus the Giants. Have some of these second and third stringers look like they actually belong in the league. And that's the problem. It's not that they're losing. It's that a lot of these guys, Cam Miller, Mark Gronowski, and many others, they look like they don't belong in the league. That's a problem. So we'll see. And again, the waiver wire stuff is going to be a big, big, big deal these next few days. We'll see who makes it in Miami. Are there going to be any surprise cuts? The only surprise cut I can actually see happen would be wide receiver Jalen Tolbert. And how much of a surprise is that? I don't know. I could see Miami going total youth movement here. Well, not even youth movement. They could go Jalen Reagor over Jalen Tolbert, and whatever. It's not that big a deal, I guess. But I could see him going with the 3 rookies, like I said. Malik Washington, AJ Hennings had a strong camp. There's 4. And if you carry 5, you go Reagor or Tolbert. Would Tolbert be a surprise cut? Maybe. I don't know. There's 1. I think the only rookie, I think the only one of the 13 draft picks to get cut is possibly Max Llewellyn. I think the other 12 are safe. Sadu Toure, the tight end, he has a little bit of a lower leg injury, so they could put him on IR, I guess, to start. I don't know. So Max Llewellyn, who was their final pick of the 13, I'm not sure he's going to make this roster, but who knows? They might, just because they drafted him. I'd say Willie Gay probably was going to be cut, but then we had the injury to Trey Moore. He's probably going to miss half the season or more. Willie Gay's probably going to make the team. Kyle Lewis, from the undrafted guys, I think Kyle Lewis, the safety, has a very good chance. He's short. He doesn't have great size, but he's got a lot of heart, and he has a knack of knowing where the ball is. So I think Kyle Lewis of the undrafted guys is probably the one who has a great chance to make this roster. So keep an eye on him. And if there's another surprise trade candidate, once again, I'm not saying I heard anything. If there's another surprise trade candidate, keep an eye on Tyrell Dotson. Because if Miami is going to go, because you're in nickel most of the time, so you only need 2 linebackers on the field. If they're going to go Jordan Brooks and Jacob Rodriguez, Tyrell Dotson might have a little trade value. And by little, again, talking picks around 5 or 6 probably. And he doesn't cost a ton of money. And he's in the final year of his deal. I wouldn't be shocked if Miami's made the decision, Jacob Rodriguez is going to start. He might even be the guy who wears the green dot on his helmet as a rookie. He's our guy. Tyrell Dotson, if you can get something for him, stockpile picks, baby. Stockpile picks. That's what I would say. Stockpile picks. So, yeah, that's all for today's show. I want to jump on real quick, talk about the Tutu trade, the Hunter acquisition, and what's going to happen here these next few days and what might happen. And it's going to be interesting. I could see Miami surprising here. Someone like Wright or Ollie Gordon. I wouldn't be shocked if one of them got moved. I really wouldn't be shocked, especially picking up 2 running backs this week. Just seems a little odd because that really wasn't a big position of need, but maybe Wright and Ollie haven't shown halfly in his staff, enough. And they're like, we didn't draft them. Easy to move on to. They don't have huge deals. Gordon be easier to move on from. We'll see. Just something to keep an eye on. So everyone enjoy the game tonight. Again, on X or Twitter, follow us at Sleeper Miami. Here at the Sleeper Miami Dolphins YouTube channel. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. Feedback in the comments below. And take care. We'll talk to you again after a while.